all the field of photomodulation. Hello everybody, it's Dr. Lonnie. In today's video, we're going to cover the laser cap as one of your options for maintenance therapy. So let's jump right into it. Number one, how do laser caps work? It's a field of biology called photomodulation, which is the use of light energy to excite metabolism in the cells, and that's exactly what the cap does. It uses a particular wavelength of red light to excite your hair follicle, increase metabolism, and keep hairs in the growth phase for a longer period of time. Now that does sound a little gimmicky, I get it, but remember there are a couple of correlators which you can really say where light energy does work. Number one, in plants. Plants absorb light, they excite the same organelles to produce energy, and that's how plants keep with their metabolism and grow. Second, an example is vitamin D. Obviously, vitamin D is essentially produced or converted in your skin in response to sunlight. And so it's photomodulation, and it is a real science, although it took me a long time to grasp myself. We have seen decent results with it. So speaking of results, let's kind of go into how effective is a laser cap. By itself, I would say that the cap is about 60 to 70% effective from a scientific standpoint. However, from a practical standpoint, a laser cap is excellent. And the reason for that is its number one advantage is that it's very easy to use. However, in combination with finasteride and minoxidil, you get a synergistic effect. So if you're using finasteride and minoxidil, you're looking at about 80% effectiveness in hair maintenance. This might bump you up to 85, 90%, so it's definitely helping out in that regards. A laser cap does take the form of a cap. There's actually a shell within the hat here. You can change it out to anything you want, and it goes directly over your head. You can wear this around the house for 90 minutes a week, and essentially that's all you really need to do. It comes with a battery pack, so you're not attached to a wall. You can move around, and all you're going to do is switch this thing on, keep it charged. And I'm going to take the cap off, and I'm going to show you what the inside of that looks like. So in here, depending on the cap you get, you'll have a series of actual laser diodes. They're not LEDs. They're pushing at a very specific wavelength of light. And again, depending on the cap you get, there'll be more lights or not. And I'll kind of demonstrate it really quick. So in the caps with more coverage, you'll have coverage along the sides, whereas the caps where there's less coverage, you'll have coverage in the middle. Based upon your trichoscopy, that little microscope you use to look at your hair during your consultation, will tell you which one is more beneficial to you. And that's what really separates the cost of the caps that we have to offer. So let's go into the pros. Number one pro about this is really the convenience. It's just so easy to travel with. It's so easy just to remember and do. And I would walk away with this being obviously the most convenient, like we had covered. But so let's go into the cons now. What are the cons of the laser cap? Number one, there are a lot of gimmicks in laser caps. So you can imagine it's pretty easy just to take a red light bulb or LED, put inside a cap, and sell it for the thousands of dollars range. It's very cheap to produce these overseas and just ship them in, and you may not be getting the exact kind of specifications you need. So when you do look for a laser cap, the specifications you want to look for, number one, it's wavelength. The wavelength determines the type of red light that is going in. It's a very specific, narrow wavelength that is centered around 655 nanometers. Now, when I say it's a very narrow wavelength, that means that only in the range of about 650 to 660 is this light actually exciting your hairs. Now, if you get a regular red light that goes from 600 to 700, only 10% of that light may be effective. So when you move up to lasers and diodes in a very narrow band, you're exactly the wavelength where all that energy is getting is effective. Number two is the level of energy. A lot of caps out there are just underpowered, especially the ones you might see overseas. This may be something that you just aren't familiar when you buy the cap, so it's easy to get away with. The laser cap we have in our office, the one I'm holding right here, was founded from Dr. Hamblin at Harvard and MIT. And in fact, he's the inventor of the original laser cap, and the laser cap we have in our office, the one I'm holding right here, has about 3 times the energy of any other light out there, and I'll get into the reasons why in just a second when we talk about pulsation. So The amount of energy it takes to penetrate into your skin is pretty significant. And the hair follicles are not that deep, but also just to get inside your skin, you need to have enough energy to penetrate. And it's really this pulsation of this light that really allows it. So let's talk about pulsation as the third specification. This is very important. It's been found that pulsatile light is more effective than continuous light in photomodulation in general. Now, this is extending beyond hair. This is into all of photomodulation. There's not really specific studies in hair itself, but it's pretty easy to extract that. You should expect the same thing with hair. The reason we can drive 3 times the energy here is because the lights are taking a break. When they're turned on, they can go into overdrive mode. They can really push that 655 nanometer light with a lot of energy directly to your scalp. So you get the dual benefit of number 1, pulsation being better, number 2, the ability to drive more energy. And as far as I can tell on the market, this is the only one that I've seen that is pulsatile, particularly because the circuitry is a lot harder to work out for that sense. So when you're looking for a cap online, and again, the number one kind about this is just finding one that's actually real. I looked at Iverstore, I looked at Capillus, and just because of the lack of specifications available to it, I just can't vet them. Whereas this one has been through the rigors of actually really defining what the field of photomodulation is, so we just decided to offer it. But if you decide to get your own, just look at those specs. Otherwise, it's just really easy in our office to just get this one, and we kind of vetted it for you. So, in summary, the laser cap, it's an excellent option for maintenance therapy. It works through photomodulation. Again, that's increasing energy in your follicles, remedying metabolism, keeping your hairs in the growth phase. Its number 1 pro is its ease of usability. 30 minutes 3 times a week underneath the cap, battery powered, walk around the house, put it on, makes a lot of sense. Its efficacy is in the 65 percentile scientifically, but because of the compliance factor, efficacy is probably going to outbeat most things you have. That being said, it is best used in combination with the topical minoxidil, finasteride, dutasteride combinations, and that's really going to rev you up into the 90% percentile for maintaining hairs. The setbacks of this device are the gimmicky models out there that might not meet the specifications, and just kind of a low education level about these devices really, from a scientific standpoint, really allows them to get away with that. So if laser cap seems interesting to you, please let us know during your consultation. We'll be happy to order it for you. Like I said, there's a couple different models depending on how much coverage you need. We'll recommend the one that's right for you. The price of these devices is in the $2,000 to $4,000 range, depending on which one you get. But it's a one-time fee, and these things do last 10 to 15 years, so it's money well spent in the long run compared to other options. All right, so that's a laser hair cap. Hopefully that helps. Let us know if you like one.